Okay, today we are going to make a dessert called caramel candy bars. It's not a candy bar, it's actually more like a cookie or dessert bar. It's super yummy, it's ooey gooey, and I can eat the whole pan, so I don't make them very often. I'm going to tell you, I'm a bit of a snob on my caramels, so this is the best caramel for this dessert. Now, I have tried it with Brock's caramels, I've tried it with Kraft caramels. It's edible, but the people who eat this on a frequent basis, when I make it with the other kind, they ask me what I did wrong. So, just so you know, this is the best. It makes the best consistency for your finished product. Alright, what you'll need to make your dessert is 2 cups of quick oats, not old-fashioned oats or they're going to be too chewy. 2 cups of all-purpose flour. 1.5 cups of brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar, you can use dark brown sugar, it doesn't matter. But don't pack it. Every other recipe I make has packed brown sugar for like cookies, bars, whatever. Don't pack it. Just take your measuring cup and scoop it in with a spoon. Don't pat it down. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. 2 sticks of margarine. Fairway or Hy-Vee is the best because it's 80% vegetable oil instead of 50, so you won't have a crispy bar. The others are like 50, 53. You're gonna have nuts if you want them. We use walnuts in our family, but if you like pecans, that's fine too. Almonds, if you got a lot of money, you want to buy the fancy kind, go right on ahead. Your caramels, you can't get a bag big enough for all of them. This is, I used one 8.1 ounce bag and then I took half of another one because you need about 12 ounces of caramels. So if you buy the big bag, otherwise you can go to Dollar Tree and get the dollar bags and they're like 2 ounces. So then you just need 6 of those. To start, you're gonna take 1/3 of a cup of milk, pour it in with your unwrapped caramels, and then pop it in the microwave, in a microwave safe container for about 2 minutes. That's also gonna depend a little bit on the wattage of your microwave. Stir it about halfway through, it'll make a real smooth caramel, and then set that aside. That's the first step in making this dessert. Okay, see how there's some chunks in there still that aren't smoothing out? That means it needs just a few more seconds. It hasn't come together quite like it's supposed to. So I'm gonna stick it back in the microwave for probably another 30 seconds. In the meantime, I'm gonna get my hands dirty. This is a dessert that the kids that I babysit, or my niece, kids from church, they all love to do it because they get to play with their food. I have a friend who doesn't like to touch raw eggs. This is not the dessert she likes to make. If you want to use a hand mixer for this, you can do that. Don't overwork it or your dough will be tough. That's why it's easier to use your hands. See how it's starting to come together? This is what you want it to look like. Then, scrape it off your fingers. Oh, I might add that you should have preheated your oven to 350 degrees. 1 egg from the refrigerator. While my caramel is microwaving, I'm going to dump my flour, my oatmeal, my brown sugar, baking soda, and salt into a bowl. This is nice because you don't even have to get out the mixer. I'm going to start it with a fork, but for the most part, you use your hands. Once it's mixed, doesn't have to be perfect, you add your 2 sticks of margarine. And your 1 egg. Do not melt your margarine before you mix this up. It will be the wrong consistency, and you'll have a really crispy product at the end. Cold margarine will make more like a pie crust. You don't want that either. So either microwave it for a few minutes, or a few seconds, so that it's room temperature, or let it sit out all day. Like I sat this out this morning. That's how it is. You can start with your fork. You want to mix it up, or you're going to have gooey hands by the time you're done anyways, so you might as well just use your hands. Oh, let me check on the caramel. See, this is what it'll look like. It doesn't come together naturally. You must stir it. I'd like to tell you that a whisk makes the job easier, but it doesn't, and then it's more of a pain to clean at the end also. Our caramel's beeped. Oh yeah, this is what it should look like. All those chunks will go away. This would also be wonderful on ice cream, just throwing that out there. Okay, see how consistent it is, other than the caramel that's stuck on there from, I can't microwave my spoon. See how it just ribbons off your spoon? That's what your caramel will look like, and then you just set this aside. Wipe up the caramel if you made a mess, because it's not fun to clean up later. Alright, then you'll take any kind of cooking spray, doesn't matter what kind you use. I like Pam because it doesn't ruin my pans, but I'm going to use a disposable pan for this, so it doesn't really matter. Spray it well. Caramel's sticky. Make sure you get the sides because you want to be able to cut the bars when you're done. Then your spatula, spray it. You're going to use that to pat down in the pan. You're going to take about 2/3 of your dough, and you're going to put it in the pan. Make sure you get all the flour powder and oatmeal powder off the bottom of the bowl. See, it'll all come together in a ball. Okay. A 9x13 pan is what I generally use for this. If I'm feeling generous and I want to share it with somebody, you can put it into 2 8-inch square pans, and then you don't eat the whole thing yourself, and it's a good way to make friends with your neighbors. Okay. You'll have just a handful, because this is what's going to go on the top. So you'll have just a handful left. You take 9x13 pan is what I generally use for this. If I'm feeling generous and I want to share it with somebody, you can put it into 2 8-inch square pans, and then you don't eat the whole thing yourself. And it's a good way to make friends with your neighbors. Okay. You'll have just a handful, because this is what's going to go on the top. So you'll have just a handful left. You take this, kind of spread it down a little bit. Alright, then you get your spatula, which you have sprayed, and can pat it down. Once it starts to stick, you either spray it again, or you spray your hands and pat it like that. See how I'm making a lip? Can you bring the camera over here, Sam? See how I'm making a lip along the edge? It's helpful if you do that because that layer of caramel won't burn against the edge of your pan when you bake it. So while you're pressing it down the sides, try to make a little lip up the edge. Kind of like when you make pizza. Alright, that's what it'll look like. You're going to pop this in the oven for 10 minutes and then bring it back out and top it. So we'll stick this in for 10 minutes. Okay, the timer has gone off. Your stuff has been in for 10 minutes. I better go with 2 since we're using a disposable pan. No sense ruining a whole batch of dessert. Alright, you'll take it out and this is what it'll look like. It'll be kind of just starting to get golden brown on the edges, puffing up in the center. Alright, here's all your caramel goodness. Stir it up, get that film off the top. You know how stuff when it sits. Alrighty, I think I'll put the chocolate chips on first. It's a little bit easier. I'd like to say that you can measure these. It's supposed to be 3/4 of a bag, just your typical, like, what, 10-ounce bag? Not in a bag. I'll just show you what it looks like. You can't spread them. They'll melt because you're touching them against hot dough. So you're kind of just going to sprinkle them on. This is a little bit of milk chocolate and a little bit of semi-sweet. So you're just going to have to wing it on how much chocolate you want. I'll do it right because I'm teaching you, but in my world, I put more nuts and caramel and less chocolate because I'm not a chocolate fan. This is what it should look like. When I make them for myself, I use the mini chocolate chips and just use half a bag. Alright, that's what it'll look like. And you don't like smush them around or anything. Then I better scooch this over so I have more room. Alrighty, then your melted caramel, you're gonna drizzle it over evenly because again, you can't move it with your spatula. Try not to get it up on that rim that you made. Makes them so good. I have a friend who calls them Caramel River. Doesn't call them caramel candy bars at all. Get all the last of that caramel out. I kind of let it settle a little bit so it settles down in between the chocolate chips. And then, again, if you don't like nuts, don't put them in there. If you like a certain variety, put them in there. You can chop them. I buy them already chopped because that way I don't have to do it. Just sprinkle some on top however much you want. Nuts are optional. Okay, then the leftover dough that you had. Remember what we had left over? You're gonna take it and you're gonna crumble it on the top. Alright. Then we're going to put it back in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes. I'll check it at 20 and show you what it looks like. That's all going to depend a bit on your oven. Some ovens cook hotter than others. We'll check it at 20, and then if we need to put it back in, we'll put it back in for a little bit longer. And this is a good time to clean up your mess because the caramel is horrible to try to clean if you don't get your caramel soaking in hot water. Alright, 4 minutes, it should be done. Yep. Okay, see how the caramel is bubbling in the middle now also, instead of just around the outside? Can you see the bubbles? And then when you touch it, how it doesn't sink down in so much. And I'm just touching very light, I'm not smashing. But when you touch it, it doesn't sink down in. Then it's done. Now here's the problem with this dessert. You can't cut it right away. Like, it takes 3 or 4 hours before all the layers are cool. If you do try to cut it, it's just gonna smash it. All the layers will smash together. It's not pretty. So you have to plan ahead. Don't make this in the morning if you're planning on having it at lunchtime. I will cut this in the morning and take it down to the library and let Sam take pictures, test it out. You know, taste testing is always the best part of the job. And then she'll have pictures to show you what it looks like too. You may cut one there and show you how you'll see all the layers. So anyways, she'll post the recipe for you. Happy baking. Okay, they have cooled for, well, all night basically. But I wanted to show you what it's like. I actually wanted to try to cut a square so you could see what it's like if you cut them too soon, but I didn't see the point ruining a whole pan. But this is what they should look like when you cut them open. You'll see how the caramel has sunk back down in as it has cooled and solidified again. You just cut them. I cut these with just a little paring knife, and then see how you have your layers. You've got your oatmeal bar on the bottom, your caramel and your chocolate, your nuts if you choose to put nuts in it, and then all the decorations on the top. So that's what they'll look like when you cut them. Enjoy!